If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone and computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more other outlets. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What up, everybody? This is Falco, host of New Dawn Podcast. Welcome to a fresh episode of New Dawn. We have a special episode with you today. For us today, we have RFF Commissioner of AWFL and Muck, an MSR member and also Commissioner of Tundra. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Appreciate the invite.
Fantastic, man. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Judge, let the people know who we are.
We are the Madden Sim Revolution. You can find us on League Crawler. You can find us on Daddy Leagues. You can find us everywhere you look, on Instagram, everywhere. Listen, we are the league you want to be in. We are the league that's here to put out a community feel. We're also the league that has no problem talking to other leagues. Let's get into it, man. I'm excited for this episode, y'all. What do y'all think?
Let's go. And once again, New Dawn Podcast sponsored by StubHub. StubHub is the world's largest ticket marketplace with tickets available for over 10 million live sports, music, theater events in more than 40 countries. They enable experience seekers to buy and sell tickets whenever, wherever they are through desktop, mobile, Chromebook, whatever you got, they're able to sell it on. Once again, StubHub.com, an official sponsor of the MSR. And we're also sponsored by League Crawler. It's a Yelp-style directory of the league, players submitted by their communities of users to help make their sports gaming communities a better place to play. The rating system allows League Crawler members to find any league or any player they know on PlayStation, Xbox, and they submit a rating, which comments on their site. So once again, League Crawler, they'll help you find your league. So fellas, let's jump right into the topic. First off, let's go with the NFC West, because we had a little bit of a shakeup. A big player in Jamal Adams go over to the Seattle Seahawks from the New York Jets. RFF, for you, does this make the NFC West the best division in Madden 21?
Are we talking CFM here, like full cycle, like multiple seasons
Yes.
here? Okay. Probably top to bottom, you're right, but I'm actually going to go with the AFC North just because the Ravens and the Browns are so far up top. I think the Bengals have a franchise quarterback and a lot more youth than you think, and Steelers are probably number 4, but they're actually not that bad. But I can definitely understand the argument for the NFC West, and I think it's really, really tight.
So, Muck, man, who do you got as your top league, and what do you think of this Seattle move?
I think it's great, man. I mean, I'm unfortunately a Jets fan, so for the entire basically off season, I was the one defending this guy, saying, "Oh no, he's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to move." I had no idea the context behind everything and how badly he wanted to get out, obviously. But I think the Seahawks are going to be a great team to play with in Madden. I think they said something about the abilities and how they weren't going to allow him to have a certain ability or whatever because Bobby Wagner had it. I think that's kind of stupid.
Wait. They said they weren't going to allow him to have the same ability as Bobby Wagner. This is news to me.
I'm pretty sure I read it somewhere in a thread that they said that they weren't going to allow that to happen. And maybe he could earn it or something, but off the rip, he wasn't going to have it.
That's right.
I think it's a great team to play with. I mean, if you solidify that O-line through a draft, maybe 2 seasons deep, I mean, they're a tough team to beat, man. I mean, in real life, probably not so much. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're the best team, or this move jumps them up pretty high up there in terms of Super Bowl contention. But for Madden's sake, yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty good.
I think the knock for me is the amount of young talent that they have. Like, I totally agree for season 1, probably NFC West is who you're giving it to. But when I look at like the young talent, and I kind of cheated. I have my little like formula I put together for like creating the amount of young talent for each team. So I'm kind of like looking at what I had put together, and I have Seahawks pretty low down the list. Now, this was before the Jamal Adams trade, so that probably bumps them up to like league average. And I had Cardinals lower than you would think, even accounting for the fact that they have Kyler Murray, who should be a pretty awesome like franchise quarterback. And they do have some young pieces, but a number of their guys are actually like in that 27 to 30 range. And then and the Rams have, don't actually have as much youth as you might think. They have a really good team season one, but that's where like I think the NFC West is going to struggle for the cycle more than it might seem in those first seasons or two.
You know what? I agree with you there. I want to put this out there for you guys. I want you guys to comment on it. Like the amount of picks that you lose in the draft at Seattle, like, doesn't that really hurt you?
I don't think it matters, man. I mean, in real life, I mean,
I'm talking CFL wise.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
So in Madden, it would suck. I mean, obviously, if you get a bad user in as the Seahawks in your league, and they go,
he's in trouble.
0-16, he's not gonna have.
And there's no busts in Madden. There's no real busts, right? It's just, is it a massive hit or is it kind of a hit?
Right.
There's no busts, and so those two firsts are so valuable.
Yeah,
True.
I mean, in Madden sense, that's going to be a big problem.
Now, when I look at it, man, answer my own question or Falco's question, I would say that Seattle's definitely, they're good. I believe they're good. I believe they're a team that you definitely would want to look at, as far as team selection. I like their team. I like what they have already. Obviously, offensive line is it's a go town for that thing over there. You know what I'm saying? They really need that. Yeah. But I'm also a Giants fan, and that's one of the first things that we have to put together when I get them. So I'm used to that every year. What I'll put out there for you guys is this: when you look at the way that team is constructed and having those hitters and having that speed and all those young pieces everywhere, that team could be really problematic for somebody. If you get a decent user in there, man, that team is a problem. Obviously, throughout the years, you're gonna have some, you're gonna have some teams go up and down. But I think this is one of those teams that could stay on the up if they, if the user treats them correctly, makes the correct trades, makes the correct draft picks, knowing that you have Russell Wilson, who, you never know, next year he might not be able to make it a whole cycle, and you may have to draft somebody, and just kind of build them up in the background. This team could really they could be solid, for an entire cycle. They'll lose Bobby Wagner after a few years, but they could definitely be a solid team.
It has to be a guy that can pass, though. I mean, it's got to be a decent user that can pass the ball.
That's true.
I don't think it's a tough team to play with long term. Like if we're doing 10, 11 seasons next cycle, it would have to be someone that knows how to pass the ball, like J-Rod or Kylo. I mean, because that O-line, like you said, isn't that O-line, like you said, ain't all that. And I mean, outside of that passing offense, that would be great with DK Metcalf and everything else. They have no tight end. Running backs will get older in like 2-3 seasons and regress.
Don't you dare insult Greg Olsen like that.
Greg Olsen. Oh man, Greg Olsen, and then he retires.
You're gonna have him all year.
Clowney left, so it's not a lot to work with on the defensive side, and I don't think they'd have much of a run game.
Yeah, it's interesting because just like in real life, I think y'all are spot on. I think that if you have a user that can get the most out of, Russell Wilson, who's like a 97 justifiably, then that could be a dangerous offense. But just like in real life, they don't really their offense isn't good because they stay on schedule. They can run the ball. I don't know how good that's going to be in running the ball in Madden with that offensive line. I just don't know if it's going to translate. So if you have a guy that can just punish defenses just off on the backs of Russell Wilson, that's doable, but that requires a lot of user skills. So I think it's heavily user dependent for the Seahawks team.
Yep, for sure. Agreed.
I agree with that. I would actually consider the Cardinals being a better team to take for an entire cycle over Seattle.
Interesting.
Especially with Jamal Adams not having that enforcer. Like when I first heard that news, I was like, oh boy, they're going to have 2 enforcers back there. That safety's going to be crazy. I mean, the secondary as a whole is going to be pretty good. Going into an entire cycle, they're pretty young. Defense pretty young. Personally, you all know I'm a running guy. And when I read this, when I saw this move, I was like, well, that defense is now solid. 2 enforcers. Carson I can work with, but that line is definitely going to need some work. But, yeah, you guys brought up a great point with Russell Wilson and his age. Who knows how long he's going to stick around. He might be one of those guys that flakes out early. It's going to be interesting. I believe, Muck, you hit it right on the point. It's going to need somebody, A, that can team build, and B, that's a really good passer. Because with Tyler Lockett, DK, that passing attack is going to be absolutely nasty.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals be interesting because I do think Kyler is going to be a monster quarterback in Madden, especially for a cycle. He definitely got some ratings love, and he had a good rookie season in real life. So it was good that he did. But I personally have the Cardinals as like the highest rated team, obviously distant second to the 49ers, but like the next highest rated team in that division. Again, just in terms of like the quality of their youth. Seahawks are close, but I like Kyler because I think he'll get up to. It starts at like a 77. I mean, everyone's leagues are XP sliders are a little bit different, but even on stingy leagues like ours, like I think you could, you'll approach, high 80s with that one. Approach 90 overall if you're lucky.
I want to put it out there that I agree with you guys on this. In terms of real life, I think I'm not sure, but it seems like the temperature here is that Seattle might not be that nice. I think they're going to be crazy. I think their defense needed that safety that puts fear in somebody. They were good, obviously, with the Legion of Boom and all those guys who were monsters, but I think that this past season, they were really good when the safety play was really good. They were really good when guys weren't out of position in that defense, and they're just always going to rely on the defense. Obviously, Russell Wilson is a factor, and he will have to be, respected as so. But I'm gonna give it to you guys like this: if it's for me, you give me the Cardinals over them. Yeah, I could take that. Niners, yeah, I could take that. But it's just like this team in real life. I think they're gonna be able to take down some of those dudes in real life. For Madden cycle, obviously, you'll have some trade pieces, and you'll probably have to make some trades so you could be back in the first round in the near future for that team. But outside of that, they're just gonna have to. The user obviously is gonna have to be a good builder. He's gonna have to be a good user, because if he sucks and he comes in and he sucks, obviously Russell Wilson will regress faster. You'll have regression all over the place, and you're gonna have to, you may have to rely on your top pieces so much that you'll be easily beaten. It's kind of like me with the Cardinals this year. I just wasn't so good, and I just relied on Isabella. Like, what I'm saying, Isabella, his numbers were crazy for so many years, then I stopped relying on them and I started doing better. It's just one of those things. I think that guys are going to, if we have football this year, which I'm still on the fence about, I think the Seahawks are going to get some respect from some of these folks out there. And Jamal Adams not having an enforcer is a crime.
I like to trade a lot better in real life than I do in Madden. I think that for the Seahawks, too likely late first is probably worth getting it for what I consider to be like hands down the best safety in the game, who's still super young and just the most versatile safety in the NFL right now in my mind.
You like him over
Madden,
Derwin James?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
I like Derwin James progressing, man. He's about to be a problem.
It's not a knock on Derwin James, but yeah.
Okay.
What Adams, I just think Adams is like a transcendent. Like, I think he's the best safety we've seen in years.
In years, okay, I can hear you on that one.
I'm not saying decades, but years.
Since probably Troy Polamalu, I would say.
Yeah, I'll give Earl the.
I'm about to say Earl Thomas. Hold up.
Earl Thomas is great, but he's getting up there, man. I don't know.
Current, I just meant like prime. I think he's the best safety we've seen since prime Earl Thomas.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I can take that. I'm about to say, because I'll debate somebody on Earl Thomas versus Polamalu.
Well, it's, not to make this into an IRL, but I'll be interested to see how they use Adams, because Earl's gift and the reason he made that Seahawks defense tick was he could play single high and covered to both sidelines. And I think Adams is on the same tier as a player, but he's very different. His strength is that he can play everywhere, and they didn't play Thomas everywhere. They always played him single high, so they could run that cover 3 press. And if they want to get back to that, I think they're kind of wasting Adams' talent.
I think they're going to move Adams to more of the Cam Chancellor position, where he's able to play a lot of versatility in the back, but then he's going to play up like a linebacker and disguise some coverages. I think there's no doubt that he's going to have a successful time there. You're going to have a couple more guys step up and play their position better, with him in the fold. Even though you would think him being there would make the game easier for everybody, I think it's going to make the game a little bit harder, because now if you make a mistake and he's constantly having to back off and play in coverage, because we know Adams can get to the quarterback too. Like, it's weird, you know what I'm saying? He plays the middle of the field. He plays so well.
He's an incredible pass rusher somehow, even as a safety. You're right.
Exactly, even as a safety, he's to me, that's where him and Palomalu have a very, very, very big similarity, where they both can get to the quarterback, and they lay the wood when they get there. So that's super important for a team. But I think that at the end of the day, he's going to be, he's going to bring in pressure for everybody to play harder, because if you miss an assignment and the only reason that you get scored on over the top is because we knew that he was blitzing and you weren't covering your man good, well enough, that's going to be addressed in the huddle. That's going to be addressed on the sideline, and it's not going to be pretty. In Seattle, them boys fight over that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I want to see a second creation of that Legion of Boom defense. It was amazing.
It's going to be interesting too to track where Clowney ends up, because if Clowney ends up back in Seattle, boy, that defense is just crazy.
I thought he was going to the Jets.
I think they can't now.
I don't think there's a chance they can afford it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Clowney wants the bag. He wants a lot of money. There's not a little bit, like a lot of money, and he's not gonna. He's not gonna settle. He's not gonna settle.
I think even a 1-year prove-it deal, Seahawks are pretty much out of that running.
Yeah, and I mean, if he wants to win, he goes and signs up with, a Seattle or something like that, just to get another chance at it. But I don't see him really caring so much about that. I think Clown Dog really wants to get his paper. I mean, he sees the writing on the wall. The league could stop at any point during this virus. So let me get paid now.
Yep.
That's true. Guys, let's move on to the next topic here. Since you're speaking, that was a great transition here, Doug. Players are now backing out of the season. You guys feel like this will have any effect on Madden? Do you feel like Madden is just going to cancel out these players, put them in free agency? What do you guys see going on with players backing out?
I'll jump on that one, man. I'll tell you like this. I feel like that's huge for Madden. I've been playing Madden since Madden has been out to be played. And once the thing that made Madden so that changed Madden was when we got online and players were updated by their performances. You see what I'm saying? And the guys who are sitting out, that hurts. I mean, you never know what kind of season they were going to have. You never know, and say we don't get a chance to play, just go on default rosters through the whole year. That's going to be rough, man, because there isn't that oh my goodness, such and such had a great game, or, we can't judge Henry Ruggs man, he might be as fast as a cheetah. He's out here running routes and killing everybody with it, so it's tough because there's going to be a lot of there's not going to be as much opportunity for growth in guys' ratings, and I love to see it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I love to see guys go up and down. And even though it doesn't affect CFM so much, it just doesn't give me that extra that I'm used to when I just I kind of check the Giants rating throughout the year, and we just go from really bad to worse. But of course, people drag racing by my house, but really bad to worse. And it's just I like seeing that, man. It affects Madden. Now CFM, not so much.
Well, it still affects CFM the next year, right? You're right. It shouldn't affect Madden 21 cycles too much, but all those guys that have monster rookie years and come out 85 overall the next year, you're just not going to have nearly as much of that, if any, if the season is mostly lost. But
Yeah.
I don't
And
think you're
what
going
if
to see a
we-
lot
what
of
if we
rookies
lose it?
opting out, though. Personally, I think it's going to be mostly veterans opting out.
Yeah, guys who already paid. Yeah, I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
that. But say we don't get a season, right? Say we don't get a season. How does Madden justify progressing anymore or
Yeah, they
regressing?
can't basically.
You know what I'm
Just waiting
saying?
on people complaining on Twitter.
Exactly. So it's going to be two ginormous batch of rookies at that point. You know,
Everyone plays franchise mode.
Whew,
The only
exactly.
choice.
I hope so.
You want progression?
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, we'll get some love then. I feel like, but yeah, I'm done. You guys go ahead, jump on that.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point.
I don't think it's a. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say I don't think it's gonna be too great for us as a community that plays CFM. I mean, they do so much. They rely so much on the actual season to like release new events and different kind of player cards and MUT and stuff. I have no idea what they're really gonna do. I mean, they said they were gonna change a few things in title updates, features wise, but I mean, maybe the plus side would be that since they can't do anything MUT wise because there's no season, maybe they'll actually give us something for franchise mode. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the two big impacts would be number one, like I said, the next Madden, but number two is I heard a very, very, very unsubstantiated thing, and so I have no idea how accurate this is, but that EA may or may not, put those guys on IR for the first season, which could be a wild first season.
Well,
A bunch of CFMs if you have a bunch of people, depending on whether you play with injuries on to start, like we typically do. We'll start with real life injuries, and so depending on whether that's even counted as an injury, if you have a ton of people suddenly on IR for the season, now it's definitely affecting CFM. That'd be interesting. I mean, I'm not saying I want it, but like it would be wild.
Yeah, no, I've heard that rumor too. I mean, like right now, like for example, the Eagles, Lane Johnson of the Eagles, he's on the PUP list. He cannot play because he tested positive for coronavirus. So, like if the league started right now, if he was on Madden right now and the rosters were updated, he would be on the injured list. He would be injured. He's only out for 14 days, or whatever. But that's what I'm expecting as a CFM user, is to see these players like Chance Warmack, Dante Hightower from the Patriots. I expect these players to be on an IR list or possibly just phased out for just sitting in free agency or something. I'm not really sure, but if he is on the if these players do end up on an injury list, RFF, how are you guys as a league, as a commissioner, how are you going to handle that aspect?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if we have the answer yet because, like I said, typically we do start with real life injuries on. I think it adds like a nice dose of realism from when people are selecting their teams. But I do think philosophically, and this is going to kind of dodge your question, but hopefully not all the way. Like I think philosophically, like I struggle between the realism aspect of it, but also part of the benefit of a CFM, if we have a really weird season or a Jug said no season at all, is to be able to like hit the pause button and pretend that COVID doesn't exist just for like an hour every 2 or 3 nights. We will seriously consider if they're all on IR and we don't have the ability, to differentiate that from injuries, we will seriously at least consider the idea of not starting with real life injuries on, which, like I said, normally we would do.
I like the sound of that. That's using your mind as a commissioner, kind of doing what you got to do, because I know that if say my favorite player, say guys like Buda Baker, say guys like, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, those guys say, hey, I'm sitting out. Those are some of my favorites. Well, that would hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like that would hurt me bad. But I just, if I'm a commissioner, which I'm not, I probably would just stick to my guns and say, all right, cool. I'm gonna leave it to the league. I'm gonna let the people vote on it. Instead of just going about it my way. I'm pretty sure the league might vote for no injuries, but who knows? Just you never know. It'd be good to get the pulse of the league and then make that decision.
Yeah, it would be interesting, especially players like these role players like a Devin Funchess for the Packers. Like he opted out. I could see him being in real life and in Madden being a solid role player for that passing attack, and not having him for the season could change whether or not you take a team. It might slide a team back a slot or two, knowing that.
I mean, the Patriots, they're being gutted. Right. You would definitely like the impact whether you would take, because they're all old too, so they're not going to be around by season 2 or 3.
True.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. I think even Seattle with Chance Warmack, that line is already completed, and now you're looking at another starting. So it makes it tough. It certainly makes it tough. It's going to be interesting to see what the CFM community is going to do as a whole with all these players opting out. But let's move on to the next topic here. Is Lions. If we're looking at the the NFC North, it's pretty solid as far as CFM. The Bears, very solid defense. Offense is a little shaky, at the quarterback position, but Packers look solid. But how do you guys feel about the Lions? Are the Lions the second or best team in the NFC North going into Madden 21?
All right, first thing, because I have a Lions logo, so I'm going to jump in. Let's be real clear about one point. They are nowhere close to number one, because that's the Packers, and it's not even close. By far, the Packers have a stacked young team. Like, it is the Packers, and then we're debating who's number 2. But I do think that there's a legit shot that Lions could be the second best CFN team, which when I first saw that as a topic, my initial instinct was like, there's no way, because the Lions' young talent is not that great, and the starting talent is atrocious. But then I looked deeper, and I was like, you know what? Like, the Bears and Vikings are much better season 1, but their young talent is even worse than the Lions. And the Bears are probably a little bit better season 1, but their young talent is probably a little bit worse than the Lions. So for a CFM, somehow I do think the Lions are the second best CFM team, but a huge step back from the Packers, who will be good day one and are stacked with young talent.
I have a question. Are we saying second best in their division or overall?
No, division.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Muck, how do you feel about the Lions? You feel like they're second best?
It's like RFF said. If we're talking about CFM and youth and players that you can easily develop and get dev traits for and whatnot, the Bears are up there in age. The Vikings have a decent offense. Kirk Cousins, let's say average at best.
Vikes are old, man.
And he's gonna regress. You can't get out of that contract. You just got extended in real life. I'm sure they're gonna update the contract in Madden, so you're kind of screwed. Surprisingly, the Lions would be the runner-up right to the Packers. I don't know if it's an easy call to say Packers are number 1 though, because the receiving core sucks. Aaron Jones is great, but in Madden CFM, are you gonna pay that running back, or are you gonna let him walk or trade him away to get a receiver or two? Who knows? Are you gonna get rid of Rodgers after year 2 and start Love, or are you gonna get rid of him day 1 and ruin your cap? So I don't know. I think it's close, but maybe I'll give Packers number 1 just because of Aaron Rodgers. Lions would definitely be number 2.
Yeah, to me, the Packers are just that defense, that young defense with Smith brothers. Those guys are crazy. So starting off with those guys, and you start off with a really good rookie quarterback, and you still have Aaron Rodgers, still have Devontae Adams, you have Aaron Jones. I can't remember who the second running back is.
Jamal Williams, is that you're talking about?
Yes, Jamal Williams. Yeah,
he's good.
He's pretty solid too. So they have a really good start. For me, Lions is definitely number 2. I would, if you haven't noticed, I'm an Eagles fan, so I have.
Ew.
I have an undenying love for Nick Foles, so that might be creeping up there on my bias as far as putting the Bears number 2. But it's a lot closer than what people think, and that's why I wanted to make this a topic, because it's a lot closer than what people think when you really dive into the numbers. Jug, how do you feel about it?
Man, I'll tell you like this. The Lions, I would love for them to just be awesome. but I feel like that team is cursed. I've only been in one league where the Lions was really nice, you know, and it's like no matter the user, it's just always weird. That team always sucks, real life or on the sticks. But I do agree with you guys. They're definitely second best in that in that division. I think Minnesota's young pieces are, like you guys said, are up there in age. I think the Packers are number one because, you know, we did say, okay, if you want to trade Aaron Rodgers and ruin your cap, how many more years does he have left on his deal? You know, like, I don't think he has many more years left on his deal. So you might be hurting for cap for just maybe a little something and then bounce back, clear cap, and looking to, you know, add some pieces. By the time then, you won't need a quarterback because your rookie will be in his maybe fifth-year option or something like that. And, you know, who knows what you trade for. I mean, I would, if it were me, I'm going to trade for defense, but everybody knows that's what I do. I just trade for defense all the time. So, you know, you just get you some defense, you know, dev up Love and see what you got there. But when it comes to the Lions, man, I mean, I'd be excited as a Lions fan if I were a Lions fan coming into CFM to use them and, you know, to get out there and ball. Because to me, they haven't been this attractive of a team since they had Megatron.
So I don't know if this was intentional, but I am the Lions this year for our league. I will be the Lions this year.
Look at you.
Hence the logo. So
look at greatness.
Well timed.
Look at greatness. I mean, they're going to be fun though. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. If you got stick and you can you know, you can win a couple games on your skill alone, that changes everything. You know, if you're one of those, you know, middle of the league guys and you get this team, you know, you still got to get shot. But if you're a bad user and you land on this team, it's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows. You know, you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is Falco do not go to Detroit.
Falco, you know what?
Rough.
You can go wherever you want because you're great. That's all I got to say. Go.
Thanks, buddy.
Wow.
They did. I will say the Lions did get some love in their rookie class. Yeah, like they're. I mean, minus ironically their first rounder, Okuda, like really, like I thought got the shaft when it comes to ratings, but. Yes. Yeah, right. He's the best cornerback prospect since probably Jalen Ramsey came out.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Not even the best cornerback in this class. It's insane. That's not even meant to be a knock on CJ Henderson, but come on. But their other round picks like actually got a lot of love. Like DeAndre Swift actually looks like he's going to be a really nice cycle running back, and Julian Aquara. It was like a third rounder, which oftentimes, even if they're promising in real life, like oftentimes in Madden, they're pretty rough. But he actually looks like he could be like you develop into maybe not a star, but like a solid pass rusher on the edge. So they do have some young pieces. They don't really have like any star talent except for Okuda and their center. You know, because that's really exciting.
That's bad. That's bad. When you guys throw the center in the mix, like, yo, we got that center though. You know, that's tough. That's tough.
He's their like they don't have a single like young player over like 83, maybe, unless you want to count Galladay at 86, and he's 26 years old. So, you know, even he only he's not going to develop more than that, right? He's like, that's pretty much, he's at his prime.
Yeah,
I really like Galladay, man. Like,
yeah,
I
Galladay's
really like that
awesome guy. You still have Trey Flowers, you know, Justin Coleman at cornerback.
Yeah.
Been Trufant's over there. I can't remember who else. Well, you got obviously Matthew Stafford. The one thing that's gonna, again, as an Eagles fan, the $45 million that they gave for Halota.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Offensive Haloti Nagata, because I can't pronounce his real name.
Yeah,
it's a
and then you look at his rating is 67 on that. I mean,
wow.
He's not even, and he's 27. Wow. So like, he is not even one of the top 6 offensive linemen on the Lions roster, and he's making $12 million a year, and he just signed the deal, or $11 million a year, just signed the deal. Like, you can't get out of it until like year 3, and that's if you want to take a big penalty. It's I pride myself on my team building, but that one's going to be a tricky one to get through.
Yeah, that one's going to be rough, but I will say he is a Super Bowl champ, so just throwing that out there.
Well, rings are not
the ring.
Eagles, always got to rep the Eagles.
Definitely. Look, man, the Giants did the same thing, man. We went out and gave a bunch of money to a guy who had some jewelry, and what did he do for us? You know, it doesn't. You know, when it comes to the O line, you got to be some sort of, you know, like there's only a few players that I see that were great that went from team to team on the O line and stayed great. You see what I'm saying? Like,
well, this guy was on the bench. You're telling me a bench offensive lineman is not the reason you win Super Bowls?
You know, it's weird because they're awesome because they do give everybody hugs and high fives, and you know that's a big morale thing, man. You know the guys off the bench are a big deal, bro. You know,
like maybe there's a video of him somewhere like offering up the idea to call Philly.
That's exactly what he did, and NFL films right now they have sheer evidence that guy is what said Philly for the win.
Yeah.
Well, that's worth $44 million then.
Now, I will say when he was out there, especially during the playoff run, he was really solid. But you know, obviously the next season he gave up a lot of sacks. That $45 million just absolutely boggles my brain. But yeah, RFF, I'm with you. That if you're a team builder, that one's going to be rough to get around. I mean,
it'll be fun though. It'll be a good challenge.
Is that a top 5 worst contract on the game?
I don't know. I don't know enough to know if it is, but man, it's got to be like right there in contention because like he's not even going to start for me day one, like not even once.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
I got him in the Titans quarterback contract being terrible. I've got there's another contract that
but at least he's a decent starter, right? Like at least you're paying a decent starting quarterback too much money. That's better than paying a backup offensive lineman.
You have a point. You have a point.
Yeah. To me, it's almost as equivalent as the Jets cornerback. What was his name? He went over from the Rams.
Tremaine Trash Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
$72 million deal for absolute garbage.
Yeah. I had him in one CFM league. It was a no-switch league, and it was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. So I dubbed him Tremaine Johnson. I mean, he didn't even start. Yeah, my dad joked. He was awful. I mean, he was awful. I think I ended up I couldn't trade him due to league rules the first 2 seasons, I think, because the salary cap, the cap hit was so high, because his bonus was just crazy. And I remember thinking at the time, like, there's no way that this contract is real. Like, the previous user obviously butchered this deal, and I looked and it was a real life deal.
Very unfortunate, yeah. Unfortunately, very real deal.
Yeah, it's bad. So for me, this Vitae contract is up there with that. I mean, it's bad. That's a lot of money. A lot of money.
I can agree there. Definitely. It's too much money to pay somebody like that. I mean, I've been around the block for a while, and I've seen a lot of people get some money that you go, it's a head scratcher. You know, I personally wouldn't have paid a lot of guys in the league. I'm glad that Madden does the updated contracts, but I just wish they would have forgotten about the Giants signing a certain tackle to not block for anyone. It'd have been great if they forgot that one. No, this year would have been fun.
Well, guys, it's time to wrap it up here. I'm going to give you guys the floor. Muck, let's start with you. Let's give a little shout out to Tundra and let the people out there know what Tundra is about. You know what you guys do and why they should join Tundra.
Yeah, cool. I mean, we started out in the beginning of Madden 19, let's say. It's just a pretty simple, I mean, I was going to say sim, but then people debate what that means. It's a pretty simple strafe league. Tries to emulate real life. We use RFF sliders. We've been using it for basically since we started, actually. We try to do things to make it a little more fun or a little more immersive, but I mean, for the most part, realism is the big key. I mean, when Myles Garrett got suspended in real life, we were going to suspend him in game, but it didn't make sense for us being 4 years deep. But we have our own version of like training camps for the off season. We do our own all-pro votings because I feel like the way it's done in Madden is just stupid because quarterbacks win MVP throwing 30 to 40 interceptions. So we do our own versions of a lot of things. Takes a lot of time, but everybody seems to appreciate it. So me and a few guys just put the work in and try to customize it as much as we can.
Nice. I love it. And where can you find your league? Daddy League?
It's on Daddy Leagues. It's on League Crawler. It's in Madden Court on the recruiting channel. I mean, I haven't posted in a long time because we've been on break for Madden 21. We've got 2 or 3 teams open, but for the most part, it's just our core user base that's coming back. So if anybody wants to check us out, they can. Shoot me a DM. I'll be happy to debate things with you or teach you or let you read the rules and check it out.
Nice. I love it. I love it. And RFF, let the people know about your league, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. We are also on break for the summer. We are after work football league, so we're just awful. So yeah, we're a really awful league.
I love it.
You should hit me up to join if you want to sit on a wait list for like a ridiculously long time and probably find another league to play in the interim. All joking aside, we just we don't really outgoing recruit. Just we've been very lucky. So honestly, you should probably find a different league for Madden 21. But if you really want to wait a long time and get into an awesome league that stresses realism, probably above anything else, we'll throw in occasional simulated seasons to get further into the file, since we are really big about team building, things like that. We do some cool stuff. Mention that the custom sliders that are entirely data driven. I'm an analytics guy in real life, so we have sliders that I post on Operation Sports that are molded entirely from dozens upon dozens upon dozens of user games using like efficiency metrics, stuff like that. So I think we're kind of like a best kept secret in Madden. But yeah, honestly, you should probably not hit me up to join because you won't be able to join for a really long time. That's the truth. Sorry.
I like it.
Well, sometimes those wait lists are pretty fun to be a hold of or be a part of. Once again,
he's not joking. It's sorry to cut you off. He's not joking. I was on the wait list for basically this whole cycle. So
nice. And once again, guys, you can find both of these leagues, all 3 of our leagues, on League Crawler. Once again, League Crawler is a Yelp-style directory of leagues and players submitted by their community of users to help make the sports gaming community a better place to play. Once again, the League Crawler, you can find them on Twitter, Discord, and I believe they have their own website, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, once again, thank you all for hopping on here, doing another Commissioner episode. Everybody seems to be loving this. It's taking off. You guys have RFF, any last words before we take off?
Go Lions, Madden 21. I'm not going to prove Joe wrong. You're about to. I'll post the results. We'll see.
There we go.
Man, I'll be looking for them.
nice.
Any last words for you, man?
No, go MSR, man.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go. Yeah, no problem. And once again, New Dawn Podcast sponsored by StubHub. You can check us out on daddyleagues.com/Genesis. You'll find our StubHub link there. daddyleagues.com/MSR. That's our main link. You can also find the link there. And maddensimrevolution.com. It's our official MSR website where you can find our merch. You can find our rules. You can find everything that's going on as far as MSR on maddensimrevolution.com. Once again, thank you guys for joining. And on that note, NDP, we're out.